Hello, and welcome back to Weekend Cartoon Reviews. This time, we're reviewing The Colors Within. While director Naoko Yamada, I probably butchered that name, is known for a lot of her Kyoani works like Kyoani, Nichijou, Lucky Star, Tomoko Market, A Silent Voice, which A Silent Voice is the magnum opus of her career. I loved a lot of the properties she directed, and am interested in checking out more from her. I am on a mission to watch everything made by her now, and I will succeed in that regard. When she directs something, I'll be there day one, bottom line. However, the movie this time around wasn't animated by Kyoani. Instead, it was made by Science Saru, the guys behind Dandadan and many other stuff. Hell, they've even animated for Western cartoons at some point. With this being a different studio, it intrigued me on how the film would be. But make no mistake, The Colors Within feels like a Kyoani work in every sense of the way, and it makes sense why. The movie, as far as I can tell, is an original and not based on anything pre-existing, unlike most anime that are based on manga. This one doesn't seem to go that route and go for something original, which is a nice change of pace. Now, with this introduction out of the way, what did I think of the film? Honestly, despite setting my expectations way too high for this one, I still had a great time watching beginning to end. Yeah, while The Colors Within is no masterpiece, I thought it was a very charming and likable movie. The movie follows Totsuko, who has a special ability to see people as colors based on emotions. She becomes fascinated with Kimi and forms a band with her and another classmate, Rui. They also have internal struggles they have to face, and the way they go about these solutions to the struggles isn't contrived or predictable. They actually go about them in a way I didn't expect, and I love the film for that alone. If there's anything this movie reminded me of, it's definitely K-On! And that makes sense because the director worked on K-On! And they also worked on Sound Euphonium, which I still need to watch. The animation, no shocker, is really good, and Science Saru already impressed me with what they could do with Dandadan. There's nothing crazy in this movie compared to Dandadan. It's definitely a slice-of-life story, all things considered. The animation really shined, however, when Totsuko could see people's colors and the way they portrayed that. Really interesting. Like I mentioned earlier, it looks and feels like a Kyoani film. And again, you could have fooled me and made me think this was. Hell, I assumed it was until my friend Ahmed pointed out to me that this wasn't a Kyoani movie. I know I keep referencing Kyoani, but how could I not? The director primarily worked on almost all their works. The soundtrack is really good, especially the parts where you hear them playing in a band live on stage in front of an audience. Also, just to be clear, I did not watch the sub version. I watched the dub, and it was a really good dub. G-Kids always cooks with dubs, usually, and even in their bad movies, which is just no surprise there. From the movies they distributed to the States, I can't name a single bad dub, to be quite honest with you. Maybe there is one lying out there somewhere, but I'm not sure. The film's message and story is all about self-acceptance and friendship. The film definitely executes the friendship aspect flawlessly. The bonds between our main three are some of the best parts of the movie. Self-acceptance comes more into play in the third act of the film when the characters realize they struggle with their parents, but I can't go too into that, but it's not the standard you expect. People clearly love this movie, and it's no surprise why. While it hasn't reached the same impact as something like A Silent Voice, it's still a fucking great movie that I'd recommend if you've seen any of her works. Like I said, I set my expectations too high with this one, especially when I believed at one point that maybe it could be better than A Silent Voice. But A Silent Voice was just more memorable and emotional, and I expected the emotional bit here for sure. If I can compare this to any movie, it would be School of Rock. I know it's not an animated movie, but the characters doing a band in that film go through personal struggles too, and the payoff for it is very similar to that of The Colors Within. The K-On! Movie is also similar in that right, but I say School of Rock more because the K-On! Movie was more so about them writing a goodbye song for Azusa instead of the girls going through a personal struggle. Really, the only thing holding this movie back from being a true masterpiece was I had some issues with the pacing, and the movie also just sort of stops. I don't know, I feel like we could have gotten a more proper conclusion, since we really only get one for one of the main characters and not all three. It doesn't hurt it too much, and it's not as egregious as Earwig and the Witch. Might also just be the expectations I set for the film, because it had a lot to live up to. and I expected it to be an emotional film, and I expected to get emotional too. I didn't get that, but maybe others will, I don't know. I hate to be negative toward this one, because it's really fucking great, aside from those things. But they're not that huge, and the pacing isn't an issue for the entire movie. Really only the beginning bits and the ending. When it starts to pick up, it really picks up, is what I'm trying to say. Overall, though, The Colors Within is an amazing movie that you should definitely check out. It's not a perfect film, but it's so fucking good, and it just needed a bit more of a push, and it would have been perfect. That's all for today's review. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next review. Bye, everyone, and have a great day.